The dust kicked up by my worn boots tasted like iron and regret. Another day, another nameless town, another ghost of a memory nipping at my heels. They called me Kaylee Hessel, the fastest drawer in the West, but these days my hands trembled more than they should. The phantom pain in my shoulder, a reminder of the beating I took at Conroy's iron camp, was a constant drumbeat of vengeance. My brother Caleb had been a blacksmith, proud and gentle. Conroy, who called himself captain, ripped him away just like he ripped away hope from every soul in his wretched camp. I see his face in my nightmares, eyes wide with terror, pleading for me to save him. But I hadn't. Elijah's voice washed over the crowd, a wave of calm in the midst of the town's dusty clamour. A travelling preacher, he spoke of redemption, a word that rasped against my soul like gravel on bone. His words echoed a prayer I hadn't uttered in years, the whisper of faith barely clinging to the edges of my grief. I knew even before he spoke that his eyes had seen darkness too. He'd known loss, felt the same gnawing thirst for vengeance that consumed me. "He'll pay, preachin' man," I rasped, stepping out of the pale shade of a dying saloon. Elijah turned, his gaze a steady flame against the gathering dusk. "Captain Conroy, he'll pay for every tear, every life shattered." Elijah's smile was sad but understanding. "Justice, child, doesn't always wear a gun." I left Elijah ranting about the redemption that fools crave, and sought out secrets, buried in shadowed back rooms, and whispered under veiled curtains. The rumours spoke of a new camp rising in the whispering pines, a place where the earth itself felt the chill of Conroy's power. "He's not just a man, girl," one-eyed Matty croaked, pushing a chipped cup of coffee towards me. "He's touched something, twisted out there, a power older than this land, hungrier than sin." She told tales of crops withered, animals twisted into grotesque shapes, and winds that carried the stench of decay, and a laughter that sent shivers down your spine. I found Celeste on the edge of town, a woman marked by solitude. Scars crisscrossed her face, and her eyes, though weathered, held a spark of inner fire. She warned me of the price I'd pay, a price that echoed the depths of my grief. "Conroy is a conduit," she whispered, her voice brittle as dried leaves. "He draws upon something, ancient and cruel. To undo him, I'd need to offer a sacrifice. My child." It was a choice ripped from my gut. Her daughter for my brother, the chance to end Conroy's reign of terror weighed against the heart of this woman's world. I clenched my fists, my mind reeling, and then I saw it. The whisperings. They weren't wind through the trees, they were whispers, reaching out from the depths of the pines, pulling at everything living. Driven by these whispers, I stumbled upon the heart of Conroy's operation, a twisted mockery of a church, built atop an ancient, pulsating altar. The air hung heavy with fear and despair, shaping itself into tangible shadows. Elijah stood defiant beside me, his faith a flickering candle against the encroaching darkness. "The more souls he consumes," Elijah rasped, his voice straining against the oppressive silence, "the stronger he becomes." That's when I understood. Conroy wasn't the source. He was a puppet, a corrupt vessel for something far older and more sinister. I saw it in Caleb's tormented face, a sliver of a memory, not of fear but of injustice, of Conroy twisting his brother's words, turning him against the camp. "He was setting a trap," I murmured, the pieces clicking into place. He made Caleb talk, twisted him to do his bidding. That's how he feeds, on the broken promises, the stolen lives, the fear. The whispers intensified, pressing down on us like a suffocating blanket. I closed my eyes, letting go of the need for vengeance, for retribution. I concentrated on Caleb's memory, not of his death, but of the life that had been brutally stolen. I remembered his gentle hands, his warm laughter. I remembered his innocence. Then I whispered his name, not in lament but in affirmation. I filled the air with the truth that Caleb was not a traitor, not a pawn, but a victim. To everyone standing on this cursed ground, to every lost soul within the pines, I spoke his name, a beacon of light against the encroaching darkness. A tremor shook the ground, echoing through the whispering pines, and the altar pulsed with an intensity so blinding that I had to shield my eyes. The whispers screeched, twisting and turning in confusion. And then, silence. Conroy, once a towering figure of fear, crumpled to his knees, his flesh withering, his eyes empty as the void beneath. The entity, its form dissolving like smoke in the wind, screamed in rage and desperation with one final echoing plea. "No! Not like this! Not him!" Elijah, his eyes filled with tears of both sorrow and relief, lowered a trembling hand to touch mine. Justice does not always wear a gun, Kaylee. Sometimes it wears a voice. The whispering pines still stood, a silent monument to the darkness that had once gripped them. The whispers, though subdued, lingered in the decaying air, but I could hear another sound now, a delicate chirp, a symphony of hope echoing through the hushed trees. It was Celeste's daughter, a tiny bird back in the cradle of the world. The price had been paid, but not with death, but with truth. The darkness had retreated, not defeated, but undone. My heart ached, heavy and hollow. I hadn't avenged my brother. I had set him free. It wasn't the release I craved, but perhaps it was the closest I could ever get to peace. I turned away from the whispering pines, the weight of their secret still clinging to me. But I walked towards the rising sun, towards a future where I wouldn't be haunted by echoes of vengeance, but by whispers of another kind, the whispers of hope.